So welcome to Board Game Breakfast. This is the last Board Game Breakfast of 2017, and it's also airing on Christmas Day. So a very big Merry Christmas to everyone. This will only happen every 7 years, or every 6 years. Well, leap year, who knows. Anyhow, the fact is that I hope you all are having a wonderful holiday season. Some of you might be opening games right now as you watch this, or sitting at breakfast and wondering why your life is so sad. Did you end up watching Board Game Breakfast on Christmas? Or not, we'll see. But either way, I'm really excited. In a week and a half, our annual Kickstarter is starting for the Dice Tower, so we hope that you come on board for that. But there's other exciting things happening. At the end of this week, one of our stretch goals for our fundraising campaign last year was that we would record a live role-playing session. So we'll be doing that this coming Friday. We'll be playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition live. None of us have played it before. We have a Dungeon Master coming in, and we will give it a whirl and see what happens. So that's going to be pretty much all day Friday. Even though it's Christmas, I'll be doing a live Q&A later tonight, so keep an eye out for that in the evening. So come say hi to me then. And other than that, let's get to the news. Okay, so in the board gaming world, Popular Mechanics, which is not Popular Mechanisms, but anyway, Popular Mechanics had a list of their 50 great games online. Now, normally we do not talk about these too much because they're usually pretty bad, but this was a pretty good list of games. There's a new game that Matago has announced, Treasure Island, from Mark Packlin, who also did Yamatai last year. But the cover for this is easily my most favorite cover I think I've seen for a game in years. This just looks amazing. I like pirates. Please be good, please be good, please be good, please be good. We know it's going to be a great production, right? It's Matago, Vincent Dutrait doing the artwork, but and Mark has a good track record of his first game. Let's hope that this one is also good. Otis. We've reviewed Otis earlier, me, Sam, and Z, and Estevium has put solo rules online, so you want to play it. It is a puzzly style game. If you want to play it by yourself, you can do that. Speaking of Estevium, they have been part of Asmodee now since 2010, but they're now rebranding themselves as Asmodee UK, so we're starting to see Asmodee consolidate across the world. Mantic has talking more about Star Saga. This is kind of like their their futuristic dungeon crawl to some degree. It's 1 to 5 players. They talk about these different mercenaries you can play. You can play single campaigns that are only 30 minutes or more. So I'm just curious. Mantic, I have enjoyed a lot of their games in the past, but this one does look really good. Well, we figured this was coming. So WizKids and Games Workshop have made a deal together. Now they've announced Warhammer Dice Masters. All right. Battle for Ultramar. When I first heard about this, I wasn't very excited about it, I guess. I was like, oh, more Dice Masters. I like Dice Masters, but a standalone set looks really good. It's the Ultramarines versus the Death Guard, and then you can buy 2 packs, Orcs, War, and Space Wolves, because, if they're going to have 4 factions, why not make 2 of them Space Marines, because that's the way Games Workshop always has been. Where's the Eldar? Anyway. Still, it sounds interesting. I like Dice Master System a lot. Maybe this will breathe more life and bring more people into the Dice Master System in general. Speaking also from Games Workshop, they started a new initiative called Warhammer Heroes, where you can basically nominate people who are great for Warhammer, push that game. They're going to get polo shirts, their names at the Warhammer World. They're going to get a medal and things like that. That sounds good, promoting the people who play the games. There's some new Ashes decks. Goddess of Ishra and Boy Among Wolves coming from Plaid Hat Games, and the artwork on them, of course, as always, looks phenomenal. Trivial Pursuit has a new version coming out with Tap. It's called Trivial Pursuit Tap, using the new Echo buttons with Alexa. So these buttons are here, and it looks like it's a way for you to hit your button first to know the answer. This is really fascinating to me. Not so much because I care about Trivial Pursuit and Alexa, I don't. But these buttons, these Echo buttons, we're working with Alexa, means I can start running like game shows and stuff using them. Because if you ever want to get one of these boards where you press buttons, you either have to do it yourself, which I'm not good at, or you have to go buy them, and they are not cheap, these whole game show type things. But seems like it's something that could be easily bought and used. Rising 5, this is a game that Sam really enjoys. I mean, I like it too, right? But it was Sam's number 1 from last year. It has been picked up by Gray Fox Games, and you'll see that in a few months in 2018. And then Fantasy Flight is pumping more crack into Star Wars Destiny with Legacies, which is kind of a weird name, right? Because I'm thinking, what, another Legacy game? No, this is Star Wars Destiny Legacies. It's just a new set for that. But it's going to have a lot of characters you know and love, like Grand Moff Tarkin and Palpatine, Darth Sidious, and Jar Jar Binks, which I'm sure will be a rare die and probably really good, and people are going to want to use it. And then they'll be conflicted because they'll say, I don't want to use Jar Jar, but this die is so good. That's what I would do if I was Fantasy Flight, to be evil, but who knows. All right, well, that's the regular news. Let's move over to Kickstarter.
Happy breakfast, everybody. And if you celebrate it, Merry Christmas as well. As the year comes to a close, I wanted to take a couple of minutes to look back. Without a doubt, crowdfunding, for better or for worse, has established itself as a foundational business practice in the tabletop games world. Kickstarter is the undeniable leader on that front, in spite of some attempts by Indiegogo to crack more strongly into our market in the last year. And who can blame them when campaigns like Kingdom Death Monster pull in $12 million and when 4 of the top 10 most popular projects of all time on Kickstarter are in the tabletop category? Love it or hate it, crowdfunding is going to continue and grow in the next year. So prepare your wallets, and remember, no matter what I ever present in this segment, I always encourage you to do your own research on any campaign before you choose to back it. All right, let's take that super quick look back. In 2017, I covered 255 campaigns, which averages out to about 5 per week. And I spend about 4 to 6 hours a week to research, script, capture, record, and edit this segment, which, considering it used to literally take me twice as long when I started covering crowdfunding 2 years ago, that's not too shabby. And in case you were curious, I just want to be clear that I am not paid or incentivized by any publisher to be included in this segment. I just surf crowdfunding platforms and choose the projects that I want to choose. There are an additional 100 campaigns that I considered and ended up not covering. The vast majority of the time, it simply came down to timing and volume. There are so many projects that released every week this year, I simply didn't have time to include them all in this segment. And really, that's a reminder that this isn't intended to be comprehensive summarization of what your options are out there on crowdfunding platforms. It really is just projects that catch my eye. But other projects may have gotten cut because as I was researching further, I saw some red flags. Statements by the campaign owner that kind of indicated they didn't really know what they were getting into with game production, or if there was a failed or problematic delivery in a publisher's past, that would almost certainly nullify it from coverage here, because I just didn't have confidence that they could deliver in a timely and pleasant fashion for anybody who backed it off of my coverage. And I really do care about what's presented in this segment. After all, I am a backer as well. In fact, my personal count for the year is landing at 56 games backed, which is a lot. And that brings my overall total to around 350 games backed in my lifetime, which is also a ridiculous amount. So it was a good year for crowdfunding and a bad year for my wallet. Ultimately, I hope that I've helped some of you find a cool new project to support, and that I've really helped you wade through the growing ocean that is Kickstarter. I look forward to tempting you with more projects in the new year. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hello there, Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, and welcome to another installment of Board Games Throughout History, where we take a look at games that either had a very significant impact on changing the course of human history, or are just really, really old. Board Games Throughout History. Today, we take a look at an ancient Egyptian game called Mehen, and at least I think this is a game. I say that because, according to Wikipedia, the rules and gameplay of Mehen are entirely unknown. Yes, the rules to Mehen seem to be one of the many, many secrets that the ancient Egyptians took along with them, like how they built the pyramids or where they hid all their stargates. Another strange thing about Mehen is that it only appears to have been played during Egypt's Old Kingdom, dating back from 3000 to 700 BC. But then, there's no depictions of it in Egyptian records after that during the Middle or New Kingdoms. So where did it go? Through a Stargate. The game itself is played on a unique round, spiraling board that depicts a coiled snake whose body is often segmented into several different rectangular pieces. Lion and lioness-shaped pieces have also been found at archaeological sites that contain Mehen, in addition to spherical player pieces as well. And based on the presence of these pieces and the time period that the game and its components date back to, and the geographic location of the instances of Mehen that have been found, some believe that Mehen may have actually been played similarly to an ancient African game called Hyena, or Hyena Chase. In Hyena, players have pieces that all start at a village at one end of a similar spiraling track. They then roll dice or sticks to move their pieces along that track to a well at the other end of it. In one version of the game, the first player to get their villager down and back again then switches to being a hyena, which moves at twice the speed of the other players and eats anyone that it passes as it travels down the track, removing those players from the game. And the theory that Mehen and Hyena may both be versions of the same game is one that's supported by several researchers and gamers alike. For example, Board Game Geek user Daniel T. has posted a rulebook for Mehen on its Board Game Geek webpage, and those rules play really similarly to Hyena. But what do you think? Do you think that the ancient Egyptian game of Mehen was a derivative of Hyena, and have you played either one? In the comments, let me know what your experience with either one of these games has been.
In this week's episode, I noticed it was really hard to find Christmas media, but we'll get to that. Hi, I'm Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and this is what you check out when we go on the internet checking out videos, blogs, posts, whatever. We basically go ahead and suggest for you. So let's go ahead and start. Like I said in the intro, it's actually surprisingly really hard to go ahead and find a Christmas video on board games. No, seriously, go on YouTube or anything and just type in Christmas board games, and you'll just come across pages and pages and pages of nothing but buyer's guides and random playthroughs and stuff like that. But give it a shot. But I do think I have a few for you to check out for the holidays. So first up, there's JT from G Club. He made a top 5 list of some of the best movies that he wants to be seen made into good board games. There's a very big emphasis on good there. And next up, there's Ambi Rona from Board Game Blitz. She went ahead and made a new song called The 12 Days of Board Games. And the crazy thing about this video is that if you watch the entire thing, she did this in 2 takes. It's only the 2 takes and that's it. I would have been there all day trying to make this video. It took me like 5 hours to make this video. I actually had to redo this video because it was out of focus. And then myself and a bunch of other contributors also made a video for Game for Families, where we basically talked about what we are excited about and we're actually very looking forward to in the holidays. And just to name some names, there's Max from Game for Families and Andrew from The Family Gamer, and then various other Dice Tower contributors as well, of course. And if you really want to get into the Christmas spirit, I definitely suggest checking out this video from Dave Luza. It's actually from 7 years ago, so really holds up to this day. It's really funny. It's a great Christmas video. Depending on... yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And speaking of a loser, 5 Losers made a Christmas special podcast on This Game is Broken. On this episode, they invited special guest Eric Summer, of course, from the Dice Tower, and also John Perkis from Actual Lol. And it's a very funny episode. I definitely would suggest checking it out. Just be warned that there's some adult material in there. And once again, that was another episode of What You Check Out. Be sure to check me out on all my social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And this is Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and I hope you're enjoying your holidays.
Okay, so what's coming out from the Dice Tower this week? Well, first of all, we want to make sure that you're reminded that this coming Friday is going to be our, I'd say we probably play 5 or 6 hours of a role-playing game for you guys. So it's like a single one-shot type thing. We've already built our characters. We're ready to go. So come and watch us live this coming Friday. But there's lots of other things going on this week. We're continuing our look back at 2017. So you're going to see a lot of little top 10 lists come up this week, not just from us, but from other people telling you about their favorite games of the year. If you missed it, Jason did his blogs of the cruise last week, so you can go see those. But back to this week, I'll be taking a look at Drop Mix, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, and several other games, so keep an eye out for that. And the Dice Tower, where Amanda and Suzanne will be dropping a podcast of that, so you'll be able to catch that every Tuesday. And you can find all this stuff, of course, at DicetowerNetwork.com and our videos on our YouTube channel. Certainly check them out. Lots of cool content. We hope you enjoy it. Let's keep moving.
Two brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
Hey man, do you want to play a dictionary?
What do you mean?
There's a game, it's like really cool. It's called like a dictionary and...
What are you talking about? How would I play a dictionary?
No, it's not like the book. It's...
Mike, I have a dictionary right here. How do I play this? This is not a game. This is a tool.
This is like a different... We might need a dictionary, but this is a dictionary.
Find a word. What's on page? This page. 4 paragraphs down. Few. Fun game.
Okay, yeah, but I'm talking about a game now.
I'm a learned man. Yeah. You know why I'm a learned man? Because I read the dictionary.
Not a dictionary. I'm talking about a dictionary.
It's not a game. Alrighty, so this is a dictionary. Not a dictionary, but a dictionary. A dictionary is a word game. We're going to get a hand of cards with these letters on them. They have a big letter and then a number in the top right corner, and that's their value. So the game starts out with a 3-letter word. So someone puts down a 3-letter word, something like she. But then you can also change the word if you want to, and you can put new letters on top of those, so you can change it to something like the. You can change any of the letters as long as you keep at least one the same from the last word. So now we're confined to a 3-letter word here, which isn't very good, so let's go ahead and extend this word and make it they. And then someone could then change that to there if they want to, and you keep going. You can extend it out this way, or extend it out this way, all the way up to a 9-letter word. There's also joker cards, which are wild, but they give you -3 points. So every time you make a word, you write down your score of that word, and once you go through the whole deck of cards, whoever has the highest score wins. So that was Dictionary.
What a weird name.
Yeah, it's fun.
You'll be addicted to words after this.
I will say, straight up, I like this thing. It turns,
cool.
it spins. This is a cool little thing. I like
It's a
this.
cool component, and honestly makes for a fun little word game. You know, there's a billion of these types of games, but this one's pretty fun.
It's not
I
bad.
mind it.
I wouldn't play it all the time by any stretch of the imagination. It's not as addictive as they say it is. Yeah.
It's a fun addiction to the... I was trying to pun it up. I need Matthew Jude for that kind of nonsense. We just want to wish everyone a good Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope you're having a great holiday.
Indeed.
And we will see you at the thrift store.
We'll see you there.
Getting addicted to them words and whatnot.
THERE, there.
Hello everyone and welcome to Rhino Says Yes. I am the Rhino, Cardboard Rhino, and today we're gonna have a look at one of my favorite games. It's something to do with bugs. It fits in my pocket and it's one of the best two-player games ever. It's Hive Pocket. In Hive, each player has these hexagons on which there are different types of insects. The most precious piece is the queen bee, as the goal is to manage to totally surround your opponent's queen, while at the same time blocking the opponent from surrounding your queen. Each player just takes 13 pieces of one color, and the first player starts by placing one piece down. Except that first one, the pieces you put down cannot touch the opponent's, and all pieces must be touching at least one other piece. By the fourth turn, each player should have placed down their queens, and after that, they have the option in their turn to either place a new piece or to move one. When moving a piece, it's allowed to touch pieces of the opponent, and also each insect has its own way of moving. The queen bee, like the king in chess, can only make one move to an adjacent slot, whereas the spider must move exactly 3 slots in a direct path. The soldier ant is free to move to any position around the hive, and the mosquito can imitate any other insect it touches. There's also creatures that jump, like the grasshopper, which goes on top of other pieces and takes the first available slot in a straight line, or like the ladybug that moves 2 up and 1 down. The first player to get the opponent's queen surrounded, regardless of whose pieces are around it, wins the game. The beauty of this game is in its simplicity. There is no board or setting up required, and the rules feel very intuitive. It's probably a classic by now in the abstract games category. Also, it's highly addictive, especially the pocket version, since you can easily bring it anywhere. So Rhino says yes to Hive Pocket. You should totally give it a try.
Welcome to Tantrum House HQ. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp. And today on the Throwdown, I have New York Slice in the red corner.
And I've got Sunday Split in the blue corner, and they're both I Cut, You Choose games. In Sunday Split by Renegade Game Studios, you're trying to collect ingredients to build the best ice cream sundae. Each round, the splitter looks at some cards and then divides them into number of piles that equals a number of players. Some cards will be face up and some will be face down. Collecting certain combinations of cards will score you points, like the most bananas or sets of whipped cream and sprinkles. Watch out for those vegetables, though.
In New York Slice by Bezier Games, you score points by having the most slices of a pizza type. Each round, the slicer lays 11 pieces out in the shape of a pizza and reveals a today's special. The slicer then splits the pizza into a number of sections equal to the number of players without rearranging the slices. When you take slices, you can eat some to get automatic points and save some to try to get the majority of a type.
So let's do the Throwdown. Sunday Split takes about 20 minutes to play.
This one's 30, so it's pretty close.
2 to 5 players.
This one goes up to 6, so I got you beat.
But if you like taking risks and faking out your opponents, then this game's got it.
Well, this one has a ton of replayability with the Today Specials.
I've got broccoli that I can put in your ice cream.
Well, I can eat pepperoni, so I'm not stuck with worthless slices.
I've got cards.
I have cardboard.
I can practically put mine in my pocket.
Well, this one has great table presence with the box and the menu and the photorealistic slices.
Well, the art for this one is fun and light and really fits the ice cream theme.
So they're both food themes. Which one wins the Throwdown? Pizza?
Or ice cream? Vote in the comments.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games. Going to be the last video of the year, so I thought it'd be a good time to talk about my top games that were released in 2017 that have a solitaire mode. I feel like it's been a particularly good year. Looking back through my collection, there are 41 games that I acquired from this year that have a solitaire mode. I couldn't narrow it down to my top 10, so these are my top 15 in no particular order. First is Anachrony, a game that has just blown me away with a terrific solitaire variant. Ex Libris, one of my most anticipated games from Gen Con. Fate of the Elder Gods, a particularly good Cthulhu-themed game. Flip Ships, not a big dexterity guy, but this game has broken through. I really enjoy it. Masmorra, Dungeons of Arcadia, came out at the beginning of the year. It still held its place in my top 15 of the year. Nemo's War, really a solitaire-only game. It does have a co-op mode, but it's really primarily a solitaire game. Otis, a new game, really interesting theme, terrific solitaire game. Outlive, maybe my biggest surprise of the year. This game came out of nowhere to me. I absolutely adore Outlive. Petrichor from Essen, just a beautiful game. I can't wait for it to become more available. Pocket Mars, a small in size game, but not in stature in my mind. Quest of Valeria, another one from the beginning of the year that still held through the year. Rescue Polar Bears, Data and Temperature. I just love the polar bears, can't help it. Sagrada, a beautiful, really abstract game about stained glass windows. Wonderful game. Spirit Island, got it at Gen Con. Absolutely love this game. And then finally, Vengeance, a game that I just got recently, and it has really knocked my socks off. I've only been able to play it once or twice, but it's been pretty terrific. So there you have it, my top 15 solo games that were released in 2017. If you've had some favorites, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Obvious.
Hello friends, hi Tom, this is Niels from the Best and the Worst and my channel Civils Brettspiele. Today we are taking a closer look to Cave vs. Cave Caverna from Mayfair Games. Let's jump into it.
My favorite part of Cave vs. Cave by far is that each single game is unique. You can never play the same game. When you excavate these rocks here, then you bring in new rooms, and it's completely random how you fill up these tiles here. So each single game you will have new rooms available to build, and that is brilliant, that is awesome, that is breathtaking. I really like that. The worst part for me is here. In the first two rounds, the options what you're doing are very limited, and it can be happen that it's a two-player game, obviously, that the last decision, so let's say your opponent take this, you take that, your opponent take that, and you are getting an action that is not really the best option for you. And on the first round or the second round, to pick the last action and you know exactly, this is not what I really want, is a little bit of annoying.
Thanks so much for watching. This was the best and the worst, Niels, and we took a closer look to Mayfair's Cave vs. Cave. See you here next week on the Dice Towers Board Game Breakfast.
Hi everyone. Merry Christmas! Winter is here. Well, on the northern hemisphere, that is. I never gave it much thought, but the southern hemisphere, of course, has got everything upside down. Australians work all night and sleep all day. Meteorologists measure winter by sensible weather patterns. They look at the months in a year that are the coldest and say, well, that must be winter. And that seems to pan out because we already had some very snowy days here. For everyone going on Caribbean cruises and stuff, we're having fun too. Astronomers define winter by looking at the Earth's position in orbit around the sun. This week I am playing a game that is set in a world where they always say, winter is coming. And finally, winter is here. This week I am playing Game of Thrones, Hand of the King. Game of Thrones Hand of the King is set in the world of ice and fire. You are trying to manipulate and get majorities in the different houses on Westeros. You do this by letting Varys do your work for you. He moves around on a 6x6 grid, and the character you let him stop on, that character you collect him. At the end of the game, you look at who has got the majorities of the different houses, and that person will be the Hand of the King. There are some side characters in the game that really flavor it up, and I really enjoyed the first couple of times I've played it. After that, excitement went a little bit down, but now it's nice to show it to people who are not into board games but really love Game of Thrones, and they are very excited to play it. Game of Thrones, Hand of the King. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great time with your family, and I'll see you, well, next year.
Nachtlich glänzet der Wald. Freue dich, Christkind kommt bald.
Hello everyone, my name is Annette, and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on Apply Mechanics, I'm going to go over the Quest for El Dorado. So this game combined both deck building and a racing mechanism into one single game. And so let me show you a little bit about it and what I really like. So here you have the setup for the Quest for El Dorado. This is a two-player game where each player is going to control two player pieces, and what you're trying to do is get your player pieces all the way to El Dorado, which is at the other end of the map. So how do you get your player pieces moving on this map? You do so by the cards in hand. Every player starts with the same deck, and what you'll do, of course, in a deck builder is shuffle your deck, draw 4 cards, and then this will tell you what you can do on your turn. So these Explorer cards will allow you to move in the green area. So you could discard 2 of these cards in order to move forward twice. You'll also have a Sailor, which will allow you to move through the water areas on the map. So these yellow cards, or these Travelers, will allow you to move through the desert areas on the map. Not only that, but they'll also allow you to purchase or hire other adventurers to add to your crew. These other adventurers are kind of costly, however, they'll allow you to move faster through the jungle and on this map. Whenever you're moving forward, you have to make sure you go around your opponents or other players. You can never go through them. So that way you can end up blocking other players. So the better your deck gets, the faster you'll be able to move through the map. So as you can see, this game is a deck builder at heart because you're building up your hand of cards, which will guide you through the map. The map is important because you can see what's coming ahead, and that's pretty much going to tell you what you should and shouldn't pick into your deck. So I really like the way that these two mechanisms are involved and how they work together and help you throughout the game. This game is a lot of fun and I highly suggest it. Well, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
In the Scandinavian nations, where they invented long, dark winter nights, they've also invented a solution for how to cope with them. They call it hygge. Now, there's no literal translation for hygge in the English language, but loosely it means that cozy feeling of warmth and friendship. Now, you can have hygge outside or at home, it doesn't matter. But what it is a recognition that this moment right now with you and your friends is somehow special. Those long, dark winter nights don't seem so long and dark when you can spend them with some good friends, some warm food, and, we think, some nice board games. At Snakes and Lattes, we have your hygge needs covered. We may not have candlelight and a roaring fireplace because, well, board games are oh so very flammable. But we do have comfort food, delicious warm beverages, thousands of board games to pass the time, and a table with your name on it. Playing board games with friends creates an amazing sense of hygge. And playing board games with friends, surrounded by other groups of people playing board games with friends, creates a sense of community that only a board game cafe can do. Now, if you don't have a Snakes and Lattes or other board game cafe near you, you can always do what the Scandinavians do and practice your hygge at home. Lots of board games are works of art, and the beauty of their boards and cards will warm any gathering. And regardless of what game you're playing, the laughter generated by playing games with friends is the essence of hygge. From everyone here at Snakes and Lattes, we hope that your winter months are filled with celebration, friendship, and hygge. Oh, and games. Of course, games. I mean, obviously, games. That goes without saying.
Hello, ho, ho! It's Christmas! My name's Dan, and this is Cora, and we're here to talk to you about board games for children around 5 and under. And today we're going to talk about this game. What is it, Cora? Forest.
Forest is a visually stunning game where players lay out cards on the table to create a fairy tale forest. On a player's turn, they put out a card from their hand. The cards have got various combinations of little magical creatures on them. Gnomes, fairies, frogs and owls. They also sometimes have big fairy tale characters on them, but those are just for decoration. If the card you put out means that there's 7 or more of a particular creature in the forest, then you pick up all the cards with that creature on and put them in your score pile. The person with the most cards in that pile when the draw deck runs out is the winner.
So, Cora, what did you think about Forest?
I like it.
What do you like about it?
I like all the different fairy tales. Like, we only just thought about the 7 dwarves.
Yeah, 7 dwarves were there. 3 little pigs.
3 bears, Goldilocks, and Pinocchio, which is really hard to find.
They've got little Santas in here, which is why we're playing this one today, because it's Christmas.
The day before Christmas Eve.
The day before Christmas. They think it's Christmas. It's going out on Christmas Day. So yeah, I really like this too, and I really like the art. A very modernist artwork, and it's quite a little clever little game. This really, I played this with a friend of mine. There was a little bit of backbiting and a little bit of tactical card play going on. It's light, but there's some fun to have if you really think about it too. So we give Forest. What should we give Forest? 2 animal thumbs up. You always do a monkey.
Yeah.
Hey, 2017. We'll do an overview of the year in board gaming, and we've talked about that in our shows and stuff. But I just want to take a special moment here. It's Christmas Day, and a big thank you to everyone involved with the Dice Tower. And as always, there are so many people who are involved in the Dice Tower. Obviously, I have my team here in Homestead. We have Derek, who does a great job editing the gazillion videos I send his way, and Sam and Z pumping out stuff. And we got Jason, who did an excellent job running the cruise. And Kenny, who just does everything that we need around here, and I always appreciate them. And then our game group, and Vernon, who's painting stuff nearby, and then extending, we got Eric Summerer on the podcast doing a fantastic job with a lot of our audio work. Suzanne and Mandy coming on as full co-hosts of the Dice Tower this year, and doing a really fantastic job. Rob Searing, who keeps our website up and running and also runs Dice Tower News. All the volunteers for Dice Tower News, all the volunteers for Board Game Breakfast, Board Game Blender, and Throw Punch Lunch, as well as the people who do reviews for us. There's just so many people that I can't list them all. I apologize, but they all do a fantastic job. We also want to say thank you to you guys. 2017. Yeah, what a year, huh? It was my 18th year of marriage. It was interesting. I thought about it this year in November. It was the 7th birthday. If Jack was still alive, it would be his 7th birthday. And Jack Vasel Memorial Fund's been around for 6 years and had a very successful year. We were able to help a lot of people and raise more money to help more people in the future. And that's always a very blessed thing to be able to do. 2017 was the last year I will have all my kids at home for the whole year. Melody's 17. She'll be heading off to college next year. And thus begins the migration as, well, probably for the next 17 years of kids at home. So it's still going to be a long time in that regard, but it is going to change how things are. This year for the Dice Tower itself, we had a successful fundraiser. One of the things was getting a Dice Tower studio. Had a pretty big misstep at the beginning where we went to a place where the homeowner association got us booted out pretty quickly. But we now are in a pretty great place, and if you notice over especially the past 2 or 3 months, we're starting to settle down and get into places. We have a dedicated place for live games now. We have a dedicated place for reviews in 2 different areas, and things are starting to come into effect. You'll notice that the audio, for the most part, has improved dramatically. And this despite the fact 2017, we had a first hurricane in Florida in a decade or so. And it did not do that much damage to us. It scared the snot out of us, but it didn't do that much damage to us, and we were able to get up and running again. And we appreciate those who thought about us during that time, and we also can say to our continued thoughts and prayers towards those in Puerto Rico and other places that did actually get hit pretty hard. The Dice Tower Convention and Cruise, I thought were both phenomenal this year, and thanks to the people who ran them. And just conventions across the board. We had so much great time meeting you guys at so many different conventions. We went to a lot of conventions this year. We go to a lot every year. And no matter where we are, from new conventions, like when I went up to HalCon and Halifax, to conventions that we've been to many times, like Origins and Gen Con, and yet you guys came by and said hi, and we appreciate that. We think that the live streaming, we're getting it, right? It's starting to come across more smoothly. You'll notice that we've done more live streaming, and as the year went by, we're starting to do more and more, and hopefully we'll continue to be putting out just different live things all the time. I started a new series, crowdfunding, crowd surfing, about the Kickstarter and things like that. I started a new unboxing series a year ago. I didn't expect it to be as popular as it is. We'll be starting some new stuff. We did the best of publishers at the beginning of this year, and games better than Monopoly Life and that, so you could point people who like those games, and they could find more games that are similar to those. So just been a lot of interesting things. I plan to grow and expand in the future, but that's the topic for another day. I know that 2017 was not great for many people. A lot of bad things happened to a lot of people. That's the way it's going to be every year. We certainly had a lot of missteps ourselves between the hurricane and the studio, and even things that you guys don't see. Sometimes storms behind the scenes, just different things. But overall, I cannot complain. Overall, it was a wonderful year, and we appreciate that you guys still watch our videos so many years later. Thanks so very much. And so, again, I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and a big thank you. A Happy New Year. Happy holidays in general. You all have a fantastic time. Come back, see us in Board Game Breakfast next year, 2018. I'm Tom Vasel.